Yo, it's Seal Clubber. I mean, Guido coming at you with a tactics talk, tier 3. All right, so as a lot of you guys know, I am doing the 100 battle challenge, trying to get every tank up to 100 battles. Really, it's tier 5 and above because I don't delve down to the lower tiers very often for a lot of reasons. It's not quite as fun, although I will tell you with the new hit points, it's a little more fun, so I think that's a positive thing overall. I don't go down there because there's a lot of new players and nobody needs me down there smashing people in the face with my 20 gold rounds. But the Panzer 3E is actually a pretty fun little tank. I learned this from, was it, I don't know if it was Bean or it was somebody, I'm probably getting the name wrong, but somebody was showing me this tank on a couple replays. So I picked one lower tier tank below tier 5 to add to that list of get them to 100, so that every once in a while I would play it and maybe create some content for you newer guys who are down at the lower tiers. A couple things to know about the lower tiers. Number one is there's more hit points, so they last longer. That's pretty cool from the last patch. Number two is the maps are limited. And I was just looking it up, but I think I have a bad list. This is clearly Abbey. I've seen a lot of Abbey playing this. In fact, it's almost all I see playing this particular tank. It says on the wiki, Tier 1 is Himmelsdorf and Mainz. Tier 2 and 3 is Malnovka, Ensk, Runeberg, Karelia, and Prague. But no Abbey, and I don't know if I've ever seen Proc, so I don't know. There's probably a newer list. The wiki is a bit of a disaster anyway. Also, it's possible that when I did a search, I got a copy of a page from God knows when. The whole interwebs, right? The whole kit and caboodle. In any event, I am on Abbey for whatever reason, down on the south, and I'm carrying my 20 pub stomping, seal clubbing gold rounds. This thing has pretty bad penetration. I mean, it's down there at 60 at tier 3 and gets a whole 96, which is actually significantly better. I mean, you're talking another third better. So we'll go ahead and get going with this bad boy. As a general rule, I am going to go over here, even on these low tier battles or higher tier battles, over to the 1-2 line. On the low tier, I think that's really the best way to go. The Panzer 3E is really fast. I do recommend this thing. Unfortunately, I don't remember right now if it still happens to be in the tech tree or if this is one of those special tanks now, collector's tanks or whatever. So I don't know. I'm not here to tell you how to get through tier 1 through 3. To be quite honest, if you can't figure out how to get through tier 1, 3, I know that's a mean thing to say, but goodness gracious. Now, when I say that, I mean just like navigating it through. I'm not saying playing the game and learning the ins and outs of the game. That's what we're here for. All right. So unknown what this is tech tree wise. So I'm going to come over here on the 1-2 and look how long it takes to zoom in. It's just a really long time. Generally, you're going to find these lower tier tanks have really bad dispersion. All right, they are inaccurate. I have taken to doing this quite a bit because what I have found is people will stack up a lot. Even on the higher tier games, this is true, but especially the lower tier games, they'll kind of hang out here on the D row. Okay, on the D row. Sometimes they'll push up, but if you come around this corner and they're not already charging hard, and I paused for a moment, didn't see anything, you can pretty safely move up into this hole or the one right behind me right there and start spanking guys that are in the middle right here. Now, I don't have 6th sense on him, so I'm not able to know if I'm spotted, but clearly I probably am based on how close I am, even though the spotting for tanks at this tier is pretty bad. So this 3E is trying to get away, and I'm just punishing him. Unfortunately, I don't quite get him dead. That last shot goes into his shot. Isn't that just the way with RNG? Right at the kill shot. And because I'm not paying attention, I get jumped on by this light tank, and I really need to get my front armor to him. Get another shot on him and get him auto-aimed, and I'm just hoping he... There we go. That works. He's not a problem anymore, right? He's never coming back up here. He's going to have to try to get out of that hole. I'd love to go kill him because he is kind of proxy lighting me. It would also be fun just to dive down on top of him. But I've got things like this guy. Now look how long it takes to zoom that in. Clearly he can see me. I light him on fire, which is very helpful. My angling was way too much for you new guys. Angling is a thing, but look how angled I was. So I've really flat-plated that side. I needed less angle right there for him to not pen me or to not be helped penning me from the side. So we've got the T-46. The light down there is proxy lighting me. I can see nothing else going on in the north, so I'm going to push in. I'm going to try to take out this T-45, 6, whatever he is. There we go. And now I'm thinking about whether I'm going to move forward here or not. Nothing going. Nobody coming. I look at the rest of the map. Most of them are in the middle. Potentially somebody coming around on the southeast and coming up onto our cap. So I just want to stay here for a moment and react to these guys and make sure that I don't have any issues of guys jumping on the cap or causing issues like that. So we'll go ahead and back out. and head back. And I'm a little bit indecisive. Do I head south or do I go north? And I see the Valentine over there. All right, so the Valentine is a really heavily armored tier 3. Has a real, talk about pew-pew guns. It's even more pew-pew really than the Panzer IIIe. I need to get, either have gold or get around beside him or behind him to have any real good chance at penning the guy. Now we got a nice rainstorm coming in, so you may hear that thumping on the windows and whatnot. So I find the Valentine, and it's just going to take a while to dig through. This is where I'm talking about all the extra hit points people have now at this tier. I mean, hit him once, they hit him twice, and he's still about 3 shots from being dead. Hit him another time, somebody else gets a piece of him. I'm trying to get away, just swing around, fire. Oh, that one bounced, that sucked. I may eat another shot, or there we go. We get him dead, and thank goodness that worked. Auto-aiming at this tier is a bit of a crapshoot, right? Because that dispersion is so big, unless you're very close, you can very often miss. So we'll move back along the middle right here, and as long as my cap isn't threatened, I'm happy to stay up here, keep this high ground, and continue to shoot guys. But now it looks like I need to move across the middle. This is a place where you can quickly come across, provided there's nobody controlling the middle. You see I come off, and now I'm headed over here into the edge. So we're going to cross across this, which you can do if it's a permissive environment and nobody's kind of clogging up the middle right there. But we had the whole west side of the map controlled, so I was able to move across. There was nobody really in the town to stop me from doing that. It is a slow crossing, though, because you're going through the water. That does slow down, messes with the traverse of your tank and all that good stuff. Then I find this guy hanging out in the middle. He's just sitting there, so we'll just take some nice fully zoomed shots. He's moving a bit now. I just take a blind shot, but he actually backed up unbelievably, so I missed that one. I wish I'd have been smart enough to not shoot the gold at him because I didn't really need it right there, and we take that guy down. Now we'll move in here, and the MKA dude is tucked up in a little hole there. I don't want to break cover because I know that Panzer Jag guy is sitting up there. There he is. Now we get that guy down. So a couple, 3 shots from him, and I'm out. He actually has a really good pen. This tank has decent armor at tier 3. Really has pretty much everything going for it. It's got okay armor. It's very fast. The gun is very derpy. That's the big problem with it. If you're shooting gold, you got enough pen, but it is one of the better tier 3 tanks for sure. So we'll head back down to the south because I'm kind of worried about what this Panzer 1C dude is doing. I can see that I've got the TKS-20, the tankette up there, the Polish guy. He's looking out over the cap. I'm up here with our Valentine, who has pretty good hit points. Both of us can take a few hits. The AMR-35 is driving up onto the cap, or up onto their cap. Now that's foolish because he's now doing this alone. There's no reason to do that alone. And it looks like maybe he's just trying to poke up and get a spot on the Panzerjäger 1, but he's probably not going to survive a whole long time against it. Yeah, there he goes. It's got a fairly weak turret, but it's got a quite strong hull on that particular French tank. So now we're down to 3v5, and now we've got to be very careful. There's a Sexton. There we go. Panzer 1C crosses, but I can't get a shot on him in time. Snapshots at low tiers are very difficult, especially at range. Got to be careful I don't fall off that cliff and die. There's a bush right here that you can hide behind. You are exposed, though. You're out on this ledge here, so people can get shots at you. You're hull down, but not a lot. A lot of the tank is sticking up above that fence line right there. The Valentine's gone down to the south of the town and is trying to take a look, but he's going to have a hard time spotting the Panzer 1C. And now it's just a waiting game. Where's the 38H and the M2? That's the question. The Panzer 1C is probably still somewhere around cap. We have pretty good sight line, so unless he actually goes off the southeast ramp, we're probably going to see him. And even then, I might see him, depending on his camo capability right there. And I do have binoculars, so that's giving me some burn through. In low tiers, binoculars are definitely a viable thing, even for a medium tank. It kind of depends on the equipment. A lot of the lower tier tanks can't take the same basic equipment or amount of equipment that the higher tiers, so sometimes you look at what the availability is, and things like binoculars become more useful at that point. The Valentine, I have to react to him because the Sexton's coming in, and now that they understand where he is, more of their tanks are going to come this way and attempt to help. So I need to, and I wish I hadn't been running into those guys. And I'm just going to go after this Sexton right here. Boom. Oh, it doesn't work. We just need to get one more shot. One more shot. There we go. The one more shot. And we get rid of that guy. I'm going to back out of that. I'm really glad there was nobody over on the west side to shoot at me. I figured maybe the Panzer 38H or the JPZ, the Panzerjäger, and it looks like the medium has gone that way. So that hurt. He gets 52 with his HE, and I only have to take one shot. So he did go up there, and that's what I was worried about. But I wanted to get back up into the high ground if I could. I'm going to stay behind these buildings for 10 seconds. So if I came blazing around into the open right here and went right out to this ledge, he may have had a shot through those buildings at me. So I want to go dark before I go there. There you go. So now I can come out here and I have a reasonable expectation that he's not going to blind shoot me or have an idea of where I am. So again, the waiting game. The Valentine is watching the southern part of the town. If they do push him en masse, then I'm going to have to get in there and try to help him. And that was a pretty good move by the Panzer 1C. So he took that opportunity. Either he was already gone because he came from the direction that I was worried about he might escape, or when he saw that both of us had moved in to take on the priest. It's not a priest. What is it? Whatever that thing is that we just killed. What is that? Sexton. When we moved to take on the Sexton, he may have moved as well. But either way, that was a nice move on his part to get up under there, although he is exposed a bit to the TKS. And then he goes dark. Now the 38H, you can see he showed up down in the southwest, and he's going to start taking on the TKS. The TKS is in trouble. He's in trouble. He's not going to be able to fight both directions. He does the only thing he really can do. He goes right at the Panzer 38H. Probably should have gone right past him if he could to get around behind him. He certainly doesn't want to cover it. And then, of course, the medium, which I knew was up there, is with that guy. Excuse me, is with that guy. Panzer 1C takes the opportunity to charge in and tries to take out the Valentine. The TKS dies, and so we only have a few moments to get rid of the Panzer 1C. So I'm going to make sure he goes away. He comes charging in, and I'll just accept the damage from the ram just to get rid of him. He's so mobile and dangerous if he gets around us. I just really need him to be out of the game. I'm surprised the Panzerjäger didn't get shots on us. I'm also kind of surprised he didn't drive up behind us. He kind of should have known that the two of us were in town and his guys were pushing from the north. But this is what TD players do, and especially new players that aren't really comfortable with what's going on. So we find the 38H, and this is where this guy's got that pretty good armor. I sneak one in there. I'm going to get a bounce that time. Try to sneak. Oh, another crit damage. He's tracked. And there we go. We get him down. I don't know where that went. Maybe it got into his turret, but we end up getting him dead, and that works out. Now we've got the medium. And it looks like the M2 medium's nearby because that shot that went to the Valentine, see those? Those are HE shells. More than likely from the M2 medium taking shots at the Valentine. He's whittling this guy away who's tracked, and I don't know where he is. There's not much I can do, and I'm hoping that the Valentine can get unlit and get out of there. So I'm just going to take some snaps or some blind shots. That didn't hit anyone. I know that because it hit behind, because I saw it hit the ground, and that one hit the ground. See that little plunk that went up? So nothing doing right there. The Valentine just says, screw it, I'm going to go straight at this guy. The whole time I'm worried that the Panzerjäger 1 is going to show up behind me. If he had any kind of aggression whatsoever, he would have already closed this deal out by putting pressure on us from the back. And the M2 is basically 100 hit points, 100% hit points, so I can't quite get a shot on him. Valentine's moving in. Don't know if I'm going to get a highlight on him. I think if I had this to do over, I would have pushed in with the Valentine. I was just so concerned on where the JPZ was. So hindsight says I definitely should have gone in there. But the Valentine is going to come around, and I'm hoping that he can survive a hit or two, and I can get some highlights. The problem is, obviously, if the M2's behind all that cover, I'm screwed. But the good news is he tries to go to cap. This is another problem with low-tier players. They don't have a good understanding of the different firing lines on where people might be and when it is you may or may not want to get on a cap like that. So he goes in there, and I just have to hope the Valentine does the rest and he gets the JOB done. So now I'm sort of waiting for the Valentine. I'm going to come up to the front edge of this, the north part of the Abbey. I'm going to use my binocs and hopefully catch the Panzerjäger being silly. It's a slightly dangerous move to do this because if he was sitting in that bush right there, he probably would have seen me come through here because I don't have a lot of great camo, which is why I cut to the right so hard. Just lucky, right? He just wasn't there. He would have got at least one shot and maybe taken me out. So we'll push in here, start kind of digging around in the north spot, but the Valentine is so slow. So we're going to have to wait. We'll go ahead and just speed this up a bit. I'm waiting for him to move, but now we're running out of time, right? We have a time crunch. Big deal about this game for you new guys is that it really is a game about time and preserving hit points, right? You've only got X amount of time. You've only got X amount of hit points. Within that time, and the hit points is going to get going. Within that time that you have to reduce the enemy's hit points to 0 to win, or to low enough that you can set the conditions for a cap. There are times when you can sneak a cap in, but you've probably set the conditions for that as well. What's going on? There we go. You probably set the conditions for that as well. Now, I'm talking about you have 2 tanks and you win against 10 because you happen to cap them out. That is not the rule, right? That is the exception. So I'll come over here. I expect him to be on this southwest corner of this promontory. So when I come up here, I kind of expect to see him right here. I don't see him, so I'm thinking, well, that's weird. Where would he be? But watch this little SA I get. Okay, see that shot? It went in behind me. It's highly unlikely that somebody shot from above and hit there because it's lower than me. I figure it's from back here, and that's another likely place for a TD to be. There's several rows of bushes, and especially this corner that is right here on the 7-8, on the A7 and 8 area. There's a corner with some rock outcropping and bushes. It's a very good defensive position. It's also a very silly defensive position when your team was basically winning, and all you had to do was push forward and help them close out the deal. Good news is he missed that shot, otherwise I just disappear right there. Valentine's coming in. I'm going to swing around this way. We're not really going to wait for the Valentine to win this thing. Come around low. Now if he's smart, he'll be waiting for me to come around this way. And he'll be in position to shoot me. Of course, he's not. Brand new player. So we'll come around here. Actually, I don't know if he's brand new. His stats I did not look up. And I catch him. And then I immediately, as soon as he's lit, I don't stop because I know I'm in trouble. I got to keep going. I'm trying to tuck up underneath this high area and block him, hold down such that he doesn't have a shot. So when I zoomed in, all I wanted to do was highlight him. And I may snap a shot off on the way in, but really I'm headed there. I need to get up underneath him right there. And I'm just hoping he misses or bounces. And he bounces. How lucky do I get right there, right? So he bounces, now slow down. Now all I have to do is back out and uncover the top of his tank. He misses. I don't quite have enough to kill him, and he misses again, and thank goodness. That's 1, 2, bounce, 4 of his last shots. Only 1 hit, and it bounced. I get 6 kills, 1,968 damage, 48 assists, and the backup of the Valentine potentially being able to win this. But I think he probably would have driven right up over on top and been out in the open for the Jag Tig to take shots. There you go. Low-tier gameplay. A little seal clubbing from Guido. Mea culpa. I don't do it that much. I don't do it on purpose, but I know that I have a lot of players who are newer players and maybe down at the lower tiers, and maybe it's worth a revisit as well just to check out the new hit points and what it does. But that is a huge number, and that could have been done in the past, but really it wasn't an amazing amount of shooting on my part. I mean, I did some good damage, but it 1958 or 1968 would be like at the top of amazing games, and now it's sort of I wouldn't call it common, but it's more common, I guess, especially for an all tier 3. Actually, it's tier 3 and 2 battle. It's even less hit points normally. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. That's all I've got for Guido's Seal Clubbing Day, and we will see ya.